As you can tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, I'm going to be showing and comparing some bobs for you. I do have videos or reviews on all of the ones that I'm going to show you today, except for this first one because it just arrived. So I'm throwing it in the mix. This is Always Trending by Raquel Welch. Always Trending has an extended lace front, a left mono part, felt covered ear tabs, an extended nape, Velcro adjusters, and we have the Memory 3 cap, which has the wefts covered with the silicone, which really gives, it provides a more secure fit. Mine is in the color Shaded Ice Cafe Latte. This is a cool brunette with blonde highlights. I have a 21.5-inch circumference. I would say it's going to fit average. I barely had to cinch it in. I don't know if it's going to fit beyond the 22, maybe 22.25-inch circumference. Beautiful part with the hand-tied fibers. Beautiful lace front, as we find on all Raquel Welch. The permatease is minimal, just a little bit to the right of the left mono part, but we do have a higher density. Always Trending weighs 5.1 ounce. So if you like a little bit more volume, if you like a little bit more, a bit higher density, this is the highest density that I have to show you today. Beautiful classic bob. The front on Always Trending is 10 inches and so is the crown. So we basically have the same length all the way around. We're not going to see any layers we're not going to see many layers. Maybe a little bit here at the front, but it's really minimal. And excellent, excellent coverage. There's the ear tab. I usually don't get this much coverage on most of my styles. And as we find on many Raquel Welch, these are heat-friendly fibers, the True to Life fibers. This is Nina by Beltress in the color Brown Sugar Cookie. Very similar style to Always Trending that I just showed you from Raquel Welch. The measurements are going to be nearly identical, about 10 inches all around. We do have that little bit of layering right here at the front. The difference between Nina and Always Trending is that Nina is from the Luxe SE collection. So we have a partially hand-tied cap, we have a full mono top, we have that extended lace, and we have a much lower density than we saw on Always Trending. While Always Trending weighs 5.1 ounce, Nina only weighs 3.5 ounces. So there is a huge difference of almost 2 ounces between Nina and Always Trending. So which one to choose between the two? I think it really depends. If you want no permatease, since this is partially hand-tied cap, we have absolutely no permatease on top. If you like a little bit more volume, we're going to have a higher density on Always Trending than what we see on Nina. Don't pay too much attention to the box hair because I've had this one stored. This is Kristen by John Renault in the color Flurry. If you like regular synthetic fibers, unlike what we find on Nina and we find on Always Trending, Kristen has regular synthetic fibers. The measurements are very, very similar. We have a crown of 10.5 inches, while on Nina and Always Trending we had that 10 inches. However, the sides on Kristen are 7.5 inches, so we have a little bit more layering here. The other difference with Kristen is that Kristen has a basic cap and it has a deep lace front. So you're going to have a little bit of illusion of scalp there if you want to make a small part wherever you like. However, we're not going to be able to have that defined part as we find, well, on Nina we have a full mono top, so we're definitely going to be able to part it anywhere we like. On Always Trending we have a left part that is quite wide, so it could be worn a little bit more off center. While yes, you can move the fibers around, we're not going to have the illusion of scalp on Kristen. And we, because this is basically a basic cap, we do have permatease, which if you have a non-rooted color, it's going to be a little bit more obvious. But this is a great throw and go. It's also a little bit budget friendlier than we find on Nina and we find on Always Trending. Plus, many wearers prefer the regular synthetic fibers versus the heat-friendly fibers. This is Euro Chic by Tressalure in the color 1723 R8. Euro Chic has a full mono top and extended lace front, and it has a weft cap, heat-friendly fibers. And what we're going to see with Euro Chic is that the ends are going to be a little bit choppier. You're going to have a little bit of layering here that we don't see on the others, on Always Trending, on Nina, even on Kristen. We don't have as much layering. With Euro Chic, it's also, we're going to have a slight angle. It's going to be just a little bit shorter at the back, and it's going to be a little bit longer towards the front, which is also another difference between Always Trending and Nina, which are the same length all around. As far as the permatease is concerned, Tressalure doesn't really add that much permatease to their styles. There's a little bit kind of at the crown, a little bit surrounding the mono top, but it is minimal. And as far as the density, it falls right between Nina, that weighs 3.5 ounces, and Always Trending, that weighs 5 ounces. Euro Chic weighs 4 point something, 4 ounces. So it falls right in the middle. We have more of an average density, and we have those kind of choppy ends. I think they are so similar that it really depends on your preference. Perhaps something that will help you decide is, do you want the choppiness? Do you want the angle? Do you prefer the colors in Tressalure versus the colors in Belle Tress or Raquel Welch? I think those are defining factors. Because we have a full mono top, we could also part it in any direction that we want, just as we found on Nina. If you want to go a little bit shorter, perhaps consider Lady Latte from Belle Tress Cafe Collection. The colors are going to be different from the Cafe Collection as we saw on Nina, that's from the Luxe SE Collection. With Lady Latte, we have a full mono top. It can be parted in any direction that we want, and we have the heat-friendly fibers, but it is slightly shorter. Did I tell you this one is in British milk tea? This is an old before the Cafe E collection. So we have just the regular temple to temple lace front, but the styles are going to be exactly the same. And just like we found on Nina, we're going to have a low density. We don't have any permatease. This is Belle Tress. It's going to fit an average to average large, and we have the heat-friendly fibers. So, and it is also the same length all around. We don't have any layers whatsoever on Lady Latte. We have a nice classic bob that's just a little bit shorter than what we saw on Euro Chic or Always Trending. This is Dubai from Beltress International City Collection in the color Coolest Ash Brown R. If you like something a little bit longer, I didn't want to leave this one out because it is longer than the others that I've shown you. However, Dubai is angled. It is shorter at the back and then it comes a little bit longer towards the front. The other difference that we have with Dubai, as opposed to any of the ones that I've shown you, is that Dubai has a center part, and that's not always everyone's preference. I would say that if you like an angled bob and you don't like a center part, then Euro Chic by Tressalure will probably be a better option for you. But Dubai is its average density, I would say, leaning on the lower end of average on the density. We don't have any permatease, and we do have heat-friendly fibers. So how do you decide between all of these styles? I think it really depends on the colors because these are so similar. So do you prefer the colors in Raquel Welch, or do you prefer the colors in Beltress or John Renault? Do you prefer heat-friendly fibers versus regular synthetic fibers? And also some a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, but they are so similar that it's really a matter of your preference. There's not that much of a difference unless you really have them side by side or you're doing a comparison video like I'm doing now. Let me know which is your favorite bob. I would love to hear from you. I hope that everyone is having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.